You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are in the world, wherever you're tuning in. I hope you're having a good one, or have been having one. It could be night time for you. This could be your wind down hour with LTiDtv 1. I am Brad. I'm of course your host, and if you're not new to the channel, you'll know that this is the Championship Prediction Show, where my co-host, who's just dealing with some technical issues backstage of his own show, for his own radio on the radio show. He's just giving a thumbs up now to tell me he's okay. Of course, he's here, and you guys are all here for this. If you are, of course, new to it, it is the Prediction Show, which is brought to you with Surrey Hills Community Radio, where you can find a certain creator of this channel on in the mornings, and Dave casually has himself and his better half on the show as well. It's surreyhillsradio.co.uk, is it, Dave? Or is it? Yes, it is. He shakes, he approves. It's surreyhillsradio.co.uk. They're in partnership with the Prediction Show, but they also are helping out. Now, you knew this was coming early. You know me, I love a shameless plug. So if you are new, and you're just new to this channel, you're new to the show, you are just tuning in for the first time, or maybe you just don't know this yet. We also have a second channel, hence why my name is LTiDtv2. That is home of the Women's WSL, LCFC Women's WSL watch-alongs, and an LCFC quiz, which is live and available there. We are working on episode 2. Fixtures are making it a bit hard to work in between, but I will, if Dave's able to, speak to him after the show. And if you're wondering where else you can find us, that's LTiDtv, do in the link below. Quickly go and subscribe while I just get through all this. But here are all our social media platforms you can find us on. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook group, TikTok. We're trying to go live on TikTok. We need 1,000 of you lovely people over there, I think it is, to get us up and running, to be able to stream on there as well. So we're going to show all of our lovely platforms the love and support that you have done to this channel. Make sure you go and head over there and do that. And as always, if maybe you're catching up with this, or you just don't want to see our, well, at least not my ugly face, I'll take that off. It's even more hideous without these on. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You can ask your smart speaker to play the Leicester Till I Die TV podcast. You can't just say LTiDtv podcast, because unfortunately it doesn't pick it up, it just runs through it. But if you just ask it to play the Leicester Till I Die TV podcast, we will be there inside your ears. So without further ado, we are here for the Prediction Show. He's been given the all clear by NASA to land safely and back in the show. It is, of course, my Paul to my Barry, isn't he? He's the Paul to my Barry. It's to me to you. It is the other chuckle of the brothers. It's Dave. Dave, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm great, Brad. Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's been a while, because for those who don't know, we tried to do the Prediction Show last week, didn't we? And it sounds like we're having technical errors everywhere. There's technical errors on Surrey Hills Radio. There's technical errors here. And last week, Dave, well, what happened, Dave?
I don't know, mate.
Yeah,
StreamYard.
Exactly that. StreamYard threw its toys out of its pram.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I think it's a conspiracy. I think something's going on with the Chinese or the Russians, because my laptop packed up. I had to try and do it on there. The devices aren't working. Somebody, a mate of mine who was on the phone earlier, his laptop's stopped working. I mean, it's just chaos out there. What's going on?
There you go. If it's not just a bad cutout at a power plant somewhere, Dave's got the conspiracy theory for all of you guys in the comments. Go. I mean,
Blame
Dave.
Chernobyl.
I mean, well, Dave's blaming anything but the obvious there.
For everything.
Dave, it's getting to that final countdown, and we're in a division where nobody seems to want to win it anymore. Leicester, yet again, somehow, after a disappointing performance on the Friday night against Plymouth, got away with it, didn't they, Dave? They can't surely get away with it this weekend, can they?
Well, third time unlucky, I guess. We got away with it twice, didn't we? Got away with it after the Millwall debacle.
Yeah, that is very true. Yes, we got away with it there as
was it
well.
that night the top three didn't score a goal that weekend?
Yes, and I did wonder, and I did suggest that maybe that was like one of them, little unique stats that sometimes Opta comes up with or puts out, and you see it all over Twitter. I would assume if you were to look back over each game week, from the very start, I would put a decent. Well, I don't endorse gambling, and if you do gamble, remember when the full stop. But I would wager something decent on that being the first game week that the top or each member of the top three failed to score a goal, because it's been so rare this season, hasn't it? We this crazy division we call the Championship. I'm looking back over scores, and there's been some crazy score lines going throughout, hasn't there? So that must have been a first, or at least kind of been a rare occasion that it's happened. That can't, Dave, to be honest with you.
No, it's the first. I'm pretty sure
It has to be the first. I'd love someone to come along and clarify, or maybe even deny that fact for us. But there we go. Just going to say a quick hello to some people that are in the chat. Chris says, hello, boys. I don't know how he said it like that or why I said it like that myself, but that's what he said. John, as ever, is always in. He says, evening all. Prepare the worst, hope for the best. Gary, I love that. I love that optimism, mate. It's the best way to do it. If you're prepared for disappointment, you're brightly surprised when they don't let you down. But of course, we're used to it. It is the Leicester way, isn't it? They don't do things easy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're talking about Dave or just the technology, but Gremlins is John's opinion on that matter.
Yeah, I'm with him on that one.
We never end in playoffs going to be whoever ends in the playoffs going to be hard because job ain't done.
Yeah.
Not sure after many players win who will go again when the other two whoever meet.
No,
it's usually I mean, I think it's statistically, and I don't like my stats, but some of them I don't mind, and this one's it's like the Royal Rumble entry number, isn't it? That they say that's got a percentage on which one's got the most success and which one you want to avoid. And the team that usually finishes sixth, maybe it's a Mandela effect that we were told, John, but it's usually the team that carries the momentum that sneaks into the playoffs that kind of usually goes on to win it. Obviously, that's not the case. I remember that time we beat Nottingham Forest on the final day and snuck in, and then we all remember the Watford occasion. But it can be done. It can be happening. But Dave, we have to avoid that, and we can't have a more instant chance to make an impact from it, can we? Because we are obviously the early kickoff, as you can see once I click the right button, by these lovely fixtures. Because this is the game we're talking about, isn't it, Dave? Let me see if I can put that up so we're both on screen. I don't know why this doesn't work, Chris. If you're still there, we need to work on how this does it so we can be on screen with it. Because but we'll run through it quickly. Obviously, we're going to talk about all of these individually in a minute, but obviously we are a Leicester channel, so we won't be talking about that first game first, but it is big games all around, isn't it? Southampton traveling away to Cardiff. They'll be hoping to play, to say their race isn't done yet. A big win against Preston in one of their two games in hand. Huddersfield, relegation battle, fighting Swansea, who have just pulled away from it. Norwich on the brink of playoffs, they want to do it. Birmingham going to try and use relegated Rotherham as a chance to go down. Some great battles in between. Middlesbrough take on Leeds at Middlesbrough. That would be a game where Leicester, if you're asking any of the top three sides to drop points in and around Leicester, Leeds look like the one most susceptible. Their form is awful at the moment, just above relegation zone on the form book. And then obviously the big one for Leicester, if they can overcome West Brom, it's a big game. Then it becomes on the Tuesday night, as you can see there, because Leicester will have the chance to play their game in hand and potentially extend a gap between themselves and third place, Dave.
I don't know, mate. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing on here because I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, me and you both, mate. If I won't give too much away because I'm sure the people that took part know. If I told you that the highest, there was only 2 people that reached double figures for points in the Champions League, that just tells you how difficult it is. I only got 3, and I wasn't the lowest scorer, and there wasn't too many. A lot of people actually were only a point or 2 more or the same as me. A lot of 3s, a lot of 4s, a couple of 5s and 6s in there. But credit to the standout of the week, Spencer. Congratulations, you got 13 points with correct answers. Lots of zeros in the correct score. Pete, this is what I mean, mate. Sometimes I can go through a prediction list, and I'm there with me pen and me checkout board, going, got that wrong, got that wrong, got that wrong, and then I'll look at a result, and I don't know. I'll take one out of pure strangeness. Was there really one last week? Sunderland 1, West Brom 0. Well, probably nobody saw that happening. No, very few people. And I guarantee you, bang, someone predicts 1-0 Sunderland, even though they're playing West Brom, who are 5th in the league. You know, so people get some crazy results on games they're probably not expecting to go through. But
do you think it's time now to just say that's enough now? We've just got to get proper results. Although the Premier League did it as well, didn't they, last week? Who'd have seen that? Arsenal lost, Liverpool lost at home. You know, I mean, it's crazy all round, absolutely crazy. But it's about time we got it sorted.
Yeah, it is. We need to get it sorted. And that's just. Let me just see what Chris has added on it. Oh, so he's done that. Okay. So there's the fixture list for you. This is. Sorry, it's Chris is doing his work in the background. He's the gremlin in the background of this one, but we like that kind of gremlin being in the background. I mean, we are here for the prediction show. I mean, a low scoring week. We talk about the championship table being tight. Tight, Dave. I don't mind this one being on full view. Here's the league standings. Things are getting, championship-esque, isn't it? You've got Doug doing his famous Leicester, sat in second now. He was leading away by a long way a few weeks ago, and not only has he been caught up, but he's been overtaken by Shane O'Donnell, who just about kept first place. May I just say, by an extra sliver, Doug gained a point on him, but it wasn't enough to return Doug to the top. And then, well, it all gets interesting in certain areas until you look at you and Luke, who were the late arrivers, to be fair. You were the late arrivers.
Remind me what that 17 next to my name means.
That means that you predicted 17 results exactly right. So you, for example,
total.
So
that's the goal difference, isn't it?
For each, you get 3 points for each game. You get absolutely spot on 1 point for predicting the outcome. I.e., you predict a 0-0 draw, but it finishes 1-1, you get a point. If you predict a 0-0 draw and it finishes 0-0, you get 3. So those on the right-hand column is how many people have done. As you can see, some people have been really relying on that, haven't they?
Am I echoing, Brad? Am I echoing?
No, cannot hear you echoing. I don't know about people in the comment section thinking you are.
I can hear myself.
Gary, I agree. So this is why I think it's important that we have the chance to kind of stop their momentum and maybe seal our own fate. Cheers, Chris. Appreciate that. That's a good one. Don't mind this one. Everybody wants to see this one on big screen, but that one was good to go. Hello to Doug. Doug, hi, your lead is well, you haven't had a lead for a while, but you have made an indent on the title charge. He has made an indent on to regain his first spot. So that is where we are. We are here. This is the prediction show. And once I get the lovely banner up, because we're a little bit late starting. I know. I mean, you can tell, can't you? Look at me. This is me live. This is a photo that I swear is real. I look totally different. It doesn't look like me. I look like an imposter on that one, don't I? It's the shades, the hard three quarters of my face. That's what it is. But Dave, we are here. It is the predictions show. It is to me, to you. You are the Barry to my Paul, or the Paul to my Barry. Chuckle. Let's get on to it. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk fixtures. And well, this is LTiDtv wants to be very silly and stupid of me to not keep you viewers interested in this show longer. If we talked about the first game, we're going to save the big one. It's East. It's easy for me to say. East meets West in a some star-crossed Midlands derby. It's like a wish order derby. We haven't got an East Midlands team to play again this season, so this is the closest we're going to get to tent. But we're not going to give you that. A bit like Chris Tarrant with the check for 32,000. We don't want to give you that. No, we don't. We are going to say that to the end because we're a Leicester channel and we want to keep you interested. We're going to crack on though with Dave. Cardiff in 11th are at home to 4th place Southampton, who as Gary said, are chasing us down. They're not giving up the fight. I did say that the plug to fixture lists for them, that the pile up of the fixture list, they also play midweek as well, because obviously they play us. So they've got their game in hand. They've won their one game in hand that they've got. Obviously we're their second game in hand. They've won that. They've been slowly just seemingly catching up, Dave. Do you see? I don't see them as much as a threat as I do Leeds and Ipswich right now, because they still have to just keep winning and hoping still at that point, even with their game in hand. Obviously, that could all change if they win at the weekend and beat us at midweek. But on this game purely, Dave, is this business as usual for Southampton, or are Cardiff likely to throw in a spanner into the works?
No, I can't see Cardiff doing anything. I think Southampton win 3-0. They're on a good roll, and I should think Leeds are bricking it at the minute.
I agree with you, because they must be thinking each week that goes by, we keep seeing Leicester drop points, and we keep dropping more points somehow. I remember. I mean, Chris, I'm sure he's not stopped talking about it. I'm sure Chris would never constantly mention the fact that when Leeds went top, they all jizzed themselves. Well, the majority of them did. We had
some nice guys on, to be honest.
Yeah, we do get some nice guys in it, but the majority of Leeds fans came over to these sort of channels, flooded them with spam of you're bottling it. And it turns out, Dave, that in the last 8 weeks, we've actually gained a point on them. So
I've not heard anything from them at all.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you didn't, Chris. I'm sure you didn't. Yeah. But you've gone early in here.
Yeah, 3-0 Southampton at least.
3-0. Well, first on the board. Well, not on that board, but on our board, as we do these in this order. It's a full house. I have gone for a Southampton 2-0 win. Chris has gone and copied my own work. He's gone for a 2-0 win. And Luke's gone for a 3-1 Southampton win. So Luke's been the generous one there. Well, I don't know how you feel about knowing that now, John, because John's gone for a 3-1 win.
Well, you see where Luke was in the league.
Well, that is true. Granted, like yourself, Luke did join late, but that is the obvious one. I think this is the point of the season where it's so obvious to say, but certain teams, they just can't afford to falter. Obviously, we're one of them, but a team like Southampton, knowing what they've got to do, Cardiff, it's too much of an ask, I'd say. Playoffs is way too much of an ask for them, and they're more than safe to go, to not going down. So this is one of them where this is why we've been saying for weeks, isn't it, Dave? Leicester don't want to ever be in a position right now where they're relying, and they have been, but they now cannot afford to be relying on other teams doing them a favour, because we saw it last season, Dave, and we always said before the game even kicked off between us and West Ham, is we can't be we shouldn't be dependent on Bournemouth beating Everton. We shouldn't have been dependent on that situation. We should have got ourselves safe when we had when we had the opportunities arise for us to get a point or get out of the bottom three by beating who was in front of us, and we didn't do it. And ultimately, even though we ended the season on a little bit of a rich vein of form, it wasn't enough because Bournemouth. Well, I don't want to, and I don't like anybody who sits on here and say, "Oh, Bournemouth threw the game." No, they didn't. It's just
it's just
well,
the
the
way
team's
it
got
is.
to play for, Dave, and they want to go away on holiday. They want to rest and recuperate. The last thing you expect them to do is go out there and practically injure themselves going
Plus the
through
fact,
a game.
can you imagine what the atmosphere was like at Goodison? I mean, it's a
Yeah,
bad
exactly.
enough place to go anyway, but when they're fighting for their lives,
Yeah,
it would
exactly.
be very tough to play there. Very
Yeah,
tough.
exactly. So this for like Southampton in this case, I think it's just a case of if they don't win, their charge for top two is for me is done. Even if they were to beat us in the thing, because one result, just balances out the other, and you can't be doing that at this point in the season. Although, try telling Leicester, Ipswich, and Leeds that apparently. Well, we go from the top end of the table. We're going to drop it down to not quite the bottom, but we are going to Huddersfield, who are in 22nd, Dave. They're playing again another team who over the last few weeks got a good couple of results and pretty much guaranteed their safety. They're Huddersfield hosting 14th place Swansea, who have kind of covered over the cracks of what was a relatively poor and bad season for them. Like I said, a few weeks ago, they were down in 18th, and they were getting dragged into relegation. So, like I said, the last few results have bumped them up and got them out of there, Dave. Will they be setting their eyes on? Well, I would say a trip to the sunny beach, but it's Wales, so maybe a trip abroad for them. But do you see them kind of maybe taking the foot off the gases? Because this every game, every point, every 3 points is going to be vital for Huddersfield. I mean, there's still 4 or 5 teams in the fight for relegation. Can Huddersfield get a win here, or do you see Swansea maybe continuing that good form?
No, I think Huddersfield will win. I think they'll win 2-1. I think Swansea is so unpredictable, though, like Cardiff. They can win games that they shouldn't, and then they lose games that they shouldn't. It's crazy. I was tempted to go for a Desmond, but I thought I'd go 2-1 to Huddersfield.
Well, you should be
as
very
they're
glad.
fighting for staying up.
Yeah, well, you should be very glad that you avoided the Desmond, because as you know, I write, as people can see, and I won't show who's who, but as you see, I write all the fixtures out, and then I write down a couple of LTiD presenters and co-hosts down to kind of compare with. And if I told you, me, Chris, and Luke is who I've got written down here. Obviously, I fill yours in as we go live on the show. If I told you only one of us has gone for a draw, could you guess who it is?
Chris.
That's correct. It's Forian Fences. That's it. If you don't know what to do your fence, give Forian a call on 0800. I'm a draw. 0800. I've gone for a draw. He went 1-1. Of course he did. He had to get a draw in early. I wouldn't be surprised if you watched back over one of these shows that he started off with a draw, knowing Chris. He started off with a draw. How did it end up like this? See? Musical genius. There you go. I could do this all day, but I'm not going to because people have lives. I've gone 2-0 Huddersfield as well. And Luke's gone for an entertaining 5-goal thriller, but he has given Huddersfield the 3-2 win. Chris, if I get 3 points, you'll both be pissed off.
Certainly will.
You started pulling away from me again in the last few weeks, Chris. So I'm at this point of accepting it by now. You probably will. You'll probably get 0 points from the rest of the game. You'll probably get nothing else, and then that result will give you some points. It's just how it is, mate. It's the typicalness of the championship. John has joined you in also going for the exact same scoreline. He has gone 2-1 to Huddersfield Town. So just to recap, Huddersfield 22nd, Southampton 14th. I've gone 2-0 Huddersfield. Dave's gone 2-1 Huddersfield. Luke's gone 3-2 Huddersfield, and Chris has gone 1-1 1-1 between Huddersfield and Sheffield Wednesday. I promise you, I do know how to speak English and read words. This is Swansea. We'll try again. It's not live. I can edit it out. That's very easy to do. Now then, we're talking about another team that will be hoping they don't come. I wish I had that excuse. You know what, Chris? You'll love this. I'm sure you'll be laughing in the
I
background.
did not say anything.
Yeah, Dave didn't say anything, but I've just said it now. It's not my fault, Chris. It's Daka's fault. Daka's just not providing me the right information, Chris. It's all Daka's fault. Daka out. Forget it. It's all gone. Get your Thatcher's goal ready for tomorrow's, Chris. Hey, he's done with Thatcher's. I didn't reach out to him.
They put the price up.
It's Cherry Aid. It's Fizzy Pop. You think I'll be able to see? I wear these because, funny enough, I need these sometimes to read things a bit clearer. I mean, with my handwriting, I couldn't, the most perfect eyesight. I think it's hieroglyphics. But I don't, what does me is I start staring at the screens because I'm talking to you guys, I'm talking to Dave, and I notice it reflecting and it puts me off. So I really probably should just accept the fact that, that I need glasses. Brought some inches today, and they said about inch.
Yeah. What do you buy, Chris? Just 2?
Well, it'd still be double what he's got. Anyway, shots fired. Anyway, speaking about.
Oh. So we're both cut off. Oh, I'm back. We're back.
Just because you're in the background doesn't mean you can cause mischief. We're trying to do a professional show here, unlike somebody who talks about certain bodily parts museums on a morning breakfast show. Tut, 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 tut. Anyway, something that's bigger and it's.
Anyway, something's bigger. Oh dear.
All right, let's get on with it now so I can get on because we were late starting. It's Norwich versus.
Why were we late starting, Brad?
We was late starting because I sat in the wrong studio and you two were having a mother's meeting. So we were all late for all different reasons. Now, behave, Chris. You're a very naughty boy. I'm the Messiah. You're the naughty boy. Norwich, big occasion from them. Bristol City, though, have been a bit of a upset for teams in and around them. They are, of course, 12th place Bristol City. Another team that you'd feel that is at that point in the season that can't make the playoffs. But they're not going to go down. Is this a case then of Norwich should just brush Bristol City apart?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but not big time. But I think they'll beat them. Bristol could have been in promotion contenders if they'd have kept Nigel. Bizarre movement, but I think Norwich will beat them 2-0, 3-0 maybe. But I've got 2-0.
You've gone 2-0 to Norwich.
Yeah.
Fine, I need to turn the volume off. I'm going blind, deaf, and dumb at this rate. My laptop volume just dropped on me. I heard you say 2-0, and I didn't hear which side too. Well,
2-0 to Norwich, yeah.
2-0 to Norwich. Well, guess what? John has gone 2-1 Norwich. I have gone 2-0 Norwich. Luke has gone 3-1 to Norwich. Guess what Chris went for?
2-2.
You've called it dead on. You've called it spot on. He's gone straight for a Desmond. He's gone 2-2. He's in there. With it all going on, he's gone for his second draw back in the row. I tell you, foreign fences, it's a thing I could make a show for. But yeah, anybody apart from Chris has probably gone for a Norwich win. I haven't seen all the predictions made in the group chat, but yeah, for me, he's gone for a Desmond.
But who knows? Who knows?
I have no idea, mate, if he is or not. I have no idea what he's doing. If he's now behaving and back in the chat and not popping back in the studio, clicking his buttons, making us all disappear. It's not a disappearing in comedy show, Christopher. See, you try and use my fake full name, I'll use your real full name. Speaking of things that are a bit depressing and at the bottom, Rotherham United. Not only at the bottom, but they're already relegated. They've been already relegated now for a while. You can accept relegation sometimes, can't you, Dave? But the way they've gone down, they just might as well not bother coming up.
It's such a shame, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and this is a real big chance for Birmingham, who themselves are not out of danger yet. They are just above the relegation zone in 21st, but with so many teams either on the same points or a couple of points ahead of them, Dave, this would be it's like the banana skin of the FA Cup, isn't it? Because they're probably the most expectant game they've probably got this with the last 3 games left for them to play. For Birmingham to get the win, and if they don't, if Rotherham can cause an upset here, that might just dent Birmingham's confidence going into the last couple of games.
I don't think it will.
Dead and buried Rotherham, can they do anything? Can they spring a surprise on anybody here?
No, Birmingham on a roll. They beat Coventry 3-0, didn't they?
Yeah,
I didn't do them any favours either, so they'll be a bit annoyed about that because the other teams won.
Well, they had to win then, didn't they? Made it even more important.
And I think they'll win 3-1.
You've gone big. You've gone 3-1.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this now. Spoiler alert, Chris has not gone for a third draw.
Oh, blimey.
He saw a bit of sense on that one. But you, Dave, you are the only person in the panel to give Rotherham a goal.
Yeah.
You're just too kind-hearted, aren't you, Dave?
I know.
I know. Birmingham are 3-0 is what I've gone for. You've gone 3-1 Birmingham. Chris has gone 2-0 Birmingham, so it's been a little bit nicer on them with the low goals. Luke, however, went for his old Leicester special, but he's given it to Birmingham. He's gone Rotherham 0, Birmingham City 4. Now then, I'm going to need a breather, Dave. I'm going to need a little bit of a breather because do you remember my little sort of maybe reasoning for my hatred towards Stoke?
I do.
For those of you that don't know, John predicted he's gone very, very unlucky for Rotherham there. He's gone 2-1 to Birmingham, but still gone for a Birmingham win. 7k plus travelling to Blackburn. We need miracles now. I'm assuming by that and seeing who you're playing, you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan. That's a great travelling section to take.
They got great fans, haven't they? Brilliant fans.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Don't deserve that hope.
But for those of you that don't know, and maybe I'm going to let you guys have your predictions first in here. Plymouth, who are, and I've just lost where I was looking, Stoke City, who are in relegation trouble in 20th, are at home to another, well, this is 6 pointers in the day because they are playing Plymouth Argyle. Now, I know that it'd be very difficult to make any rulings for this. So I was just reading the comment there. And, I don't like the fact that Stoke City were just able to poach away a manager who'd had a very good start and a very successful start at Plymouth at the start of the season. They're doing very well. They were well above their own expectations, definitely above any panelists, although some panelists, you could argue, what do they know to get their opinions on. But they took the manager from Plymouth, and I have since never really liked Stoke for it because I just don't think it should be a thing, Dave. Now they meet each other, and annoyingly, Stoke are on good form. Stoke have been pissing me off in the Predictors League because every time I predict them to lose a game, they've been winning it or drawing it. I can't say mine first because it'll make me sick. Dave, what have you gone for? Can Plymouth, can the Argyle beat Stoke, or will Stoke get the 3 points to pull themselves away from safety, towards safety? Which one's going to gain you this one, Dave? Oh, we have it there, folks, through sign language and all. Well, I don't know if that would be sign language. He's trying to wonder what Dave was saying there whilst he's having a lovely coughing fit. He's gone for the ball on ITV4. He's gone for a 0-0. And surprising, Dave, you are the only one that has this down as goalless. Chris has gone 2-1 to Plymouth. Luke's gone 2-1 to Plymouth. I've gone 2-1 Stoke.
Oh.
What? What? No, you didn't hear that, did you? You didn't hear? Right, great. No, moving on. Hey, definitely didn't say 2-1 to Stoke. I can't believe I did it. I felt sick writing it. But for me, I'm just going to say, if Stoke lose now, I'll be more happy than gaining the point. in the league because it isn't like I'm on for a title. John's agreed with me. John's halfway up the table, so if we're going to take the share of the spoils, at least me and John will get some points for it. But I'd rather be wrong and see Plymouth get the win. But yeah, I had to back Stoke because they're forming. I do worry a little bit for Plymouth. They'll be hoping the likes of Sheffield Wednesday and Birmingham probably failing their games to keep their head above water.
Normally, I'd say they'd score shed loads, Plymouth, but they've stopped doing it.
They both had change of managers since that occasion, and it hasn't just worked out for them.
Mind you, they haven't let any goals in either. Not many.
Very true. Ask Leicester. We know all about that. So that was a 5 to 3 points for them, and they'll be looking to build upon that. So maybe you'll be right, Dave, and it'll be 0-0. And if I could stop,
there'd be a first, wouldn't there? There'd be a first, if I'm right.
It would be a first, Dave. There is, it's like a broken clock. It's right twice a day, and sometimes you even have to
Can we move on?
Yeah. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to a team that, their nickname's the Black Cats, and they're sat in 13th. If that isn't a sign of where they're supposed to be, I don't know what is. It is, of course, Sunderland against a team I just never liked, and I'm even more pissed off that we lost to them a few weeks ago, which is Millwall. Sunderland dented and kind of sent shockwaves a little bit through the Championship when they beat West Brom at the weekend. Doesn't really affect our end of things, but it kind of just makes even West Brom feel, a little bit itchy about their 5th spot. Still a long way for other teams, obviously, to catch up to them, but you never know. And then they just take on a team that no one cares about. I mean, 16th place Millwall, too far above the relegation zone to really get dragged into that. Another stink out season for them. They've not really done anything, Dave.
No. It's a weird one as well, because I thought Millwall would start to pick up, and they did, obviously, against us. But it's not really taken off from there, has it? It was sort of like new manager coming back, the old guy coming back, and it all went well then. And then it's packed up again. And Sunderland, don't forget, got a creditable draw at Leeds, 0-0. Yeah. They're not conceding too many goals. And you do wonder what they can do. I mean, that win at West Brom was incredible. Again, no goals conceded. So I've got them conceding a goal tomorrow, which is bizarre, isn't it? 2-1 Sunderland.
You know what, Dave? It sounds just about right for you to go with all them statistics and then go completely against the grain of what you've just said to.
I obviously don't study it enough.
Well, that might explain your league position. You have gone 2-1 to Sunderland.
Yeah.
Luke has joined you by backing Sunderland. He thinks they're going to win 1-0, so he listened to what you said and then actually went with that.
Yeah, well done.
However, he's got it in early, guys. He's got it in just before half time, I would say. He's completed the hat trick. It's Florian Spencer's with another draw. He's gone for a 1-1. I would laugh at it a bit more, but just like John, I have also gone 1-1. So we're at least there's 3 of us on the fence. 3 people on the fence on the exact same score line of 1-1. But yeah, Florian Spencer's. I'm going to keep pushing it until he decides to make himself a fence company.
Don't. That'll be the next picture that comes up.
Oh, Jordan Bennett. Yeah, God knows what else he'll throw up into the mix.
I know.
So there you go. Dave braved a 2-1 Sunderland win. Luke braved a 1-0 Sunderland win. And me and Chris, and of course John, have all gone 1-1 between Sunderland and Millwall. Now then, this is a big game because I don't know if people have remembered this. They have to have obviously made a prediction. But Hull City are away to what place is it? 15th place. I've wrote the number down so tiny I can't see it. But they're playing bottom half of the table.
15th, yeah.
At Vicarage Road. Is it Vicarage Road?
Yeah.
It is. See, and I knew it. There was no hesitation. I knew that. I was testing you, Dave. Well done. 15th place Watford versus 7th place Hull City, who will be keen to hope that Bristol City can do them a favour when they play Norwich. But what's even bigger for them is they play again midweek against playoff chasing rivals. So they have to really make sure they get the win here because they do have a game in hand on Norwich. And although they'd still need a point swing in their favour, which is why I say they'd need Bristol City to potentially do them a favour in their game against Norwich. Win this, they will be playing Coventry midweek on the back of what, regardless of the outcome, Dave, will be a very, very groggy, you imagine, and very raggedly run Coventry City, who play in the FA Cup semi-final versus Manchester United at the weekend. So this really is a big chance. It's kind of boom or bust in a little bit of a way for Hull City if they are to make a late dash for the playoffs. They are one of a handful of teams that probably have an outside chance of taking that spot off Norwich. Dave, do you see them doing it? They are away at Watford, and Watford have been the most ridiculous. Well, for years, haven't they? Not just in terms of management, but how they lose and win and who they beat sometimes.
I don't get Watford at all. I mean, they're playing some decent football now, which is good. Well, for them. But so that's why I've gone for a Desmond, because I can't see. It depends who turns up. I mean, Watford could actually turn up and be rubbish and Hull win 4-0. I mean, this is the crazy thing about this league, isn't it? Hull
Yes.
I thought Hull might be in the mix. I don't think they will be now.
You don't think they will be, and that's probably why you've sat on the fence. And again, breaking news, shock horror. Chris has not gone for a draw. He has not. He's not. I know. He's actually been decisive for once, which is quite ironic for a man that's seemingly very indecisive in the predictions league. But he has actually gone for a 1-0 Hull City win. He thinks that Hull City obviously have a chance of making it still
Just
on
one goal.
Just the one goal. I've also, though, gone 2-1 to Hull City. And John, you just have things with hosts in this chat, don't you? I used to do Chris of copying your homework, but now you're giving me the same predictions I am. I'm gonna have to start having words, John. I think a brown envelope needs to be exchanged, John, for me to not make any accusations about this. But however, Luke probably proving why he's second bottom in the league. I don't know, or maybe this will be one of them bizarre ones that he gets right and nobody else does. He's gone 2-1 to Watford. So if nothing else, Watford, Luke's gave you hope of a scoreline. He is the only one to go 2-1 Watford. And yeah, I mean, Hull need it though, don't they? If they are to make that dash, they've got to get it now. And it is, same for a few teams, like I said. But you seem to think it won't happen, and that's why you've gone for a draw. Wow.
No, too far behind.
That are maybe too far behind then, Dave. Is that maybe a good sign for QPR? QPR are at home and have had a little bit of an upturn in form recently. Got themselves out of relegation zone. They are up to 19th. However, only a couple of points outside the drop. So a loss against 10th place Preston would see them drop back into the relegation zones if results went against them. But if Hull are 7th and you think their race is done, Dave, surely then press 10, because they're 10th. Shut up, Brad, don't give up your day job. Preston North End are 10th, Dave. Surely this is just rubbing your hands, licking your lips sort of moments for QPR, and it's going to be a QPR win then, Dave, if that's right.
You'd expect that, wouldn't you? Because they've got a lot to fight for. Preston are probably out of it. But then, again, Preston can beat anybody and lose to anybody. So
for some describe every football game ever, Dave.
Everyone in the Championship, anyway. But then that's why I've gone QPR 2, Preston 3.
QPR 2,
Preston
3. So Hull in 7th don't have a chance, but Dave thinks that 10th place Preston will win and keep the hopes alive.
I've got to do something different.
And of course, it's nice you return back to your goal scoring madness, Dave. Your 3-2 win. You've had a 0-0. You've had a 2-1, a 2. These aren't acceptable score lines for a Dave Classic. So it's good to see you've gone back to goals. And you are not alone, not just because of your other half and other family members, but you're not alone in the Preston Brigade, because Luke has also gone 2-1 to Preston. So annoyingly for you, if Preston do win, you'll be hoping it is by a lot of goals, because you won't catch Luke otherwise either way, or at least not on that result. And then QPR, I've gone 2-1 to win the game. Chris is copying my homework. He's gone 2-1, annoyingly, to win the game. And look, it's the three musketeers copying each other's homework and just handing it in with a different name, because John has also gone 2-1 to QPR.
You're probably right.
Well, maybe, but you've seen where we are in the league as well, Dave, and we've been in it all season, so you can't say too much about it. Now then, another team that are under a little bit of resurgence. They did Leicester and themselves a huge favour the weekend. It is, of course, the conquerors of the Yorkie Puds, Blackburn Rovers, in 17th, taking on another relegated and threatened side in Sheffield Wednesday, or as I get told, my favourite side in this predictions league, because every time I seem to get them predictions, they get me points. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying people always go against me, and I'm the only one that gets points on it. They are in 23rd. Blackburn, obviously, yes, 17th, but still not out of danger yet. They will know more than anybody. A couple of bad results and teams around you pick up points, and all of a sudden you're going into that final game or two, with it all to do. They are at home, though, Blackburn, and that win against Leeds has surely got to give them all the confidence that they can see off Sheffield Wednesday, who did get a draw against Stoke last time out, although that was at home, but it was another relegation rival, so they have been sterner to beat in recent weeks. Sheffield Wednesday. If I give you three guesses as who's going to draw,
Yeah,
I can't guess.
I can't. You're right, Chris.
Oh wow, that must have been a lucky guess. He had three options and you chose right. It's like a winner prize every time crane machine, isn't it? That he's obviously gone 1-1. However, I don't know if it's maybe my sentiment for them in the fact that I keep predicting them and I keep getting their result, or at least the outcome, right in one case or another. I've gone for a Desmond, so I've joined him on his fence. So he's
Okay.
himself. Yeah, but Chris's fence panel, Dave's up here, out of shot, and mine's only here. So I've still got a lot of fence panels to stack on top just to catch him up.
Good point.
I've gone 2-2. Luke's gone 1-0 Blackburn. He thinks they'll continue their form after beating Leeds last week. Is this a boom or Wednesday? Do you see them maybe getting something to keep their hopes of survival?
What's everybody else done?
Well, I can tell you that the ever reliable, the one man in chat has gone fucking giving it away. Of course, you guys in chat can get your other predictions in. It's not just John that has to do it. He's gone Blackburn 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. He sees this being a harrowing defeat for Sheffield Wednesday, and that would be detrimental for survival. Dave?
This could give me lots of points or none. I've gone 4-1 to Blackburn.
It gives you lots of points or none, which is quite literally, folks, if you know the rules of the prediction league, is how every prediction is made. I tell you what, for pointing out the obvious and that, Dave, you would make a killing in that
Sometimes
job.
you have to point the bleeding obvious out, don't you? Just to
we do. Now, we're going to do things a little bit different here, because we have got 4 games left to discuss, but we've only got one of the weekend games. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss, apart from the Leicester game, the second biggest game potentially in the league. And I've just realised something. Do Ipswich not play, or have I just not put them down?
No, they're not playing because the game they've got is Coventry. Yeah.
I know it's because I see them playing on a Tuesday that threw me off a little bit, but that's why they weren't there. I have to make sure. We are discussing the last game of the weekend. It's the second biggest game, barring the 12:30 massive East versus West Midlands derby. But a team that are faltering worse than Leicester, Leeds United, who have every time we've dropped points come to mock us, and every time they've been dealt a harder blow by football and karma. They travel to Middlesbrough, who are 9th, who are probably still very much have the faintest chance of playoffs hope out of the chasing pack. But Leeds are in awful form, and all that confidence they had 6 weeks ago when their impressive run took them to the tippy top of the table by goal difference. That massive goal difference lead they had over everybody. That was uncatchable, and according to some Leeds fans, they were never going to lose a game. Dave, let me refresh your memory. 2 draws, 2 defeats, and 1 win in the last 5. We thought our form was bad. At least we've got a couple of wins in ours. Does the Leeds Yorkshire crumble keep crumbling? Do Middlesbrough help Leicester out and Ipswich and Southampton out as well?
Yeah.
Or are Leeds going to find a way to fight back?
Well, the last 3 games have been lost, draw, lost for them. So I think they'll draw. I think it's going to be 0-0. I cannot believe Leeds are finding it difficult to score.
Well,
that's
funny,
one thing
I'll
never say. Yeah. Well, same. Yeah, exactly the same.
It
but
is
Leeds,
immense.
I think I said last week, or no, whenever we were on, I can't see Leeds slipping up again. But they do.
Well, that's why we love to see it, don't we, David? It's football karma, and especially why we're so humble when it goes right for us before we wait until the right moment to be a bit smirky about it. They hadn't played. We got the Gribbins. Carl, if you're in watching, giving it all the large. He was messaging everybody saying you bottled it. And I said, wait until you play Blackburn on Saturday and see what happens. They, of course, lost that game. So karma came back with a vengeance.
I had more messages at that moment than I've had for a long time. And I was out in the woods.
I didn't
trying to keep out of the way.
United friends, Dave. They all came crawling out the woodwork for that. You're not the only one that's gone for a draw, but take a guess. Which one of us? He doesn't even let me do it. He doesn't even let me build it up for Spence.
Mr. Fence.
Fence. Forian's Fences. I've told you. Forian's Fences. And just for a calculation, I'm going to start asking you this because there's only a couple more weeks of predictions for us to do after this. I want you to pre-predict how many draws Chris will make each prediction week. Dave, you guys in the chats can try and have a guess along because I can tell you there is a lot of draws he usually predicts. I usually mock him for being the one that goes to the most draws. I then look at where he is in the league and maybe think he's onto something then. But he has obviously gone for his draw, as you predicted, and he has gone for the same scoreline as Craig. Here, hi Craig, hope you're well anyway. He's gone Borough 1, United 1, and John has also gone 1-1 between Middlesbrough and Leeds, and that is exactly what Chris has gone for. Me and Luke, however, have put our blue tinted shades on. We've added on some more spray paint. We've fully gone blue tinted with it. Luke's gone 2-0 to Middlesbrough.
Blimey.
Well, maybe this is why I'm struggling in the league, Chris, Dave, because Luke's gone 2-0. I've gone 3-0 Middlesbrough.
That's just wishful thinking, that is.
Well, you say that, but obviously they're not scoring leads and teams have nicked wins off them with goals.
Yeah. Middlesbrough aren't free scoring, are they, really?
Well, maybe I just want it to be just for one game. That will do me. Tonight, Matthew, I will be cheering Middlesbrough on to beat Leeds because our game will be finished. And we have game in hand to talk, as well as the big 12:30 kickoff game to talk about. So we're down to the final 3. And if I can skillfully get this mouse to work, because it doesn't want to be, we will, where's he hit the video? We will do that right after this video.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Yes, and if you could do what that lovely sign said there, and like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and if you could, as you may see on my name, it says LTiDtv 2. You may be thinking, why has he got 2? This is LTiDtv. This isn't LTiDtv 2. This is LTiDtv. Well, that's because over on the channel that I run, LTiDtv 2, in the link down below, it says it. Yeah, you found it. Go and click it. Go hit subscribe. And do all the good stuff that's on the bottom of the screen as well. That's there. Surrey Hills Radio, the Instagram and TikTok. Scan all them, but go and click that link first and head on over to our sister channel because I'm there. I bring you all the LCFC WSL women's content, and I have a Leicester football pyramid quiz, which Dave, who, like I said, if he's fine to speak to me afterwards after the show, will be our second contestant on the show. Craig, another co-host on the channel, he does the preview shows with Chris most days, makes appearances on other shows throughout. He was the first contestant. If you want to go and see what it's all about and what he does, do make sure you're heading over there and checking out all the good stuff. Oh, I didn't breathe then. I didn't breathe in between words. I speak too much over on that channel. And obviously make sure you guys are just hitting the like button on this video. Appreciate all your support. Now then, the final three, the big three. We could talk about the ones that are most important, but we're not going to be that selfish. We are going to give ourselves a little bit of a break in between the two Leicester games because we've obviously got our game in hand coming up on the Tuesday. But before that, Dave, I talk about not getting the cart in front of the horses. We've just talked about Leeds' bad form, and as great as it is from a Leicester point, they can't rely on it forever. It would just be typical of Leeds to go and really hammer Middlesbrough after all this now. And Leicester just have to make sure they can do their job. I said a few weeks ago, if Leicester get to their game in hand, which is against Southampton in the midweek, it's on the midweek occasions, they need to make sure they are going into that game in the top two, Dave.
Yeah.
Whether that's goal difference, whether that's a point or 2 points, anything would be ideal, just as long as the outcome on that is fairly all beneficial for Leicester. A draw or a win obviously would be better, but a draw and a win would only benefit Leicester. They don't want to go into that game, Dave, hoping, praying, needing.
No.
And to do that, they have to beat not tomorrow. They have to, tomorrow's opposition, West Brom, at the 12:30 kickoff. It is second place Leicester City, not first, but don't worry, Leeds, not your position third. Second place Leicester City, 12:30, back at home with the King Power. They are taking on West Bromwich Albion, who are fifth and all but secure playoff places. Dave, thankfully this is at home, surely. Surely it's thankfully it's at home because that's the only games we've won in recent times. Birmingham and Norwich home. Leicester have to carry that momentum to get them through, don't they? Surely, Dave. Surely, Leicester. There's no chance Leicester can drop points here. They have to win this game. Surely.
Yeah, they shouldn't be tired. They've had 8 days off. I'm a bit concerned about what Chris put up about the injuries. KDH and Hardy, maybe. Do you think that's just a smoke screen?
No, Varley is always one of them that for the last few weeks he's kind of just been saying, look, it's recovery. And look, even with his contributions this season, I think he's got 16, maybe 17 goals this season in all competitions. He's missed big chunks of games, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's had 8 days off, so you'd hope.
Yeah, but also, Dave, he's 37. A tweet doesn't take him 3 days to get over. It takes him 2 weeks. He's potentially in the last year of his contract. Well, at least with Leicester. Who knows? He might do a fairy tale and go to Sheffield Wednesday and try and get them in the,
back in the Championship.
Either back in the Championship or playoff fighting next season.
I would suggest we need him to play, come hell or high.
Yeah, I think that. And again, we're not going to go down the rabbit hole with Alice on that one. But
I'd love to know what Plan B is because Maresca's mentioned this, hasn't he?
He's mentioned it for a few weeks, so maybe it's something they have slowly worked on.
Plays Cannon up front.
Yeah, well, that would be a
Vardy.
start, wouldn't it? Play a bloke who you said would get into any other championship team. It kind of a bit Rodgers-esque in the way he's been saying that. Like, well, why did you sign him then?
And what's up with GH? Do we know?
I don't know. I think you're at that point where you kind of know as a manager, and Leicester have a few of these to worry about come the end of the season, where there's players that just won't be here because the contracts run out. And obviously, we don't know the situation with Leicester's financial structure, but you'd imagine that he already knows certain players that have maybe said, if we get promoted, I'm going to consider staying. You know, maybe an Indeed or someone who plays week in, week out, despite his contract situation, has said, look, I'm happy to stay if we get back to the Premiership at the first time out. So if we go back to the Premier League, I'll sign a new contract. So
yeah, and I suppose that's fair enough, isn't it? I mean, he's not a fan.
And again, Iheanacho's not really had the greatest run in the side, and he's not. And when he did he scored a few goals, didn't he? Like a bit like all the rest of the strikers really this season. He had a purple patch, and then it ran out. So maybe he's one of them players that ultimately are still committed to the cause, but they know they're not going to be here next season, regardless of where Leicester play their trade. So maybe that's what's going on.
It's inevitable. We've got to win. I backed us to lose at Plymouth, but I think we'll win 3-1 tomorrow.
Of the cut of this,
I'd only say 3-1 because we're inevitably going to give a goal away by stupid.
Probably pass it into our own net or boot to the players' faces we've done before this season. But I think it's one of them points at the season where
it's got to be done. Yeah, Enzo's not stupid. He knows what the fans are thinking. He knows how important it is. He always has, but this has reached a different level now. He has to throw the kitchen sink at West Brom.
He does, and you'd feel like if the players are committed to the manager and his ideas of way to play football and his way of thinking, that they're going to do the same. And like I said, Dave, one thing we have kind of managed during this dodgy up and down period of form is we've managed to do it in front of the home crowd, which is the opposite for a long point of the season, wasn't it, Chris? We were a little bit shy at home. We'd pull the curtains over ourselves. We wouldn't want to be seen by the home crowd. We're going away and stomping all over opposition, and the away fans having more fun than the home fans in a lot of occasions.
Yeah.
But our wins of recent against Norwich and Birmingham are only 2 wins in recent compared to our 2 away performances, Dave, have gone for, have been wins. So I've backed them to win. And funny enough, Dave, this is a first, I believe, since you've been on this show with me. I have agreed with you completely. I have gone 3-1 to Leicester. Craig, I think, has got ahead of himself. He obviously thought I was going to go on to the Leicester-Southampton game. We're a Leicester channel, mate. I made you wait for the last one. I made you wait for the big game of the week, but we will discuss them in a minute. And John, I'll take it at this point. I think it's all about results. There is good performance, bad performance. As long as we get a win, it doesn't matter. A squeaky 2-1 Leicester win will do me just as well, Dave. So there we go. We have got through in, maybe not too bad a time really as well. We've got through all of Saturday and Sunday's results. And now we just have a little bit of added on extra, it's like a bonus feature in the game, isn't it, Dave? It's not an extra game week. This isn't a double header, but we have 2 games of to catch up on, and so do the clubs that are playing them. We talked about it earlier in the show, and it could prove pivotal to both sides' chances of automatic promotion. That is, of course, Leicester City versus Southampton. So, being as that game, Dave, is so important, we're going to talk about it after Coventry versus Hull City. And I have mentioned it before. Hull City, will be wanting to make that late playoff dash. They are 7th in the table. They'll obviously remain 7th regardless of the result if they win. or lose or draw against Watford, because Coventry in 8th play Manchester United in the cup competition. Doug, who is a neutral and a Liverpool fan, it turns out if your team begins with the letter L, you're probably bottling a title. Sorry, Doug. But he says he hopes Coventry do well against Manchester United. I hope they get smashed 4-0. That's Manchester United, of course. I wouldn't care if Coventry won. They're going to get beat by whoever in the final, aren't they? They probably would do, but I don't really care if they lose and Man City actually win one. At least Man United would actually be beating someone of their calibre the way they've been playing this season. But, Dave, people have probably gone for a Coventry win here because they'll be fighting. That game's going to knock them out, whatever the outcome is. Isn't it? Playing Manchester United, no matter their season at the moment, the tempo of the way teams just go about it in the Premier League. And we saw it with Chelsea. Watched the Leeds game they played against. And even though Leicester and Leeds were both feel they were unfortunate, had the chances to actually win them games, you just saw the little bit of step up difference between the Championship and that. And for me, especially if Hull win the game at the weekend against Watford, they'll be flying high. They'll be feeling that if they win this game against Coventry, it'll really rock the boat for them chasing Norwich down in 6th place. And I think Coventry were too knackered. I think they'll take the wind out of the sails playing a semi-final at this game, coming in so close together. Maybe I'm wrong, Dave. Maybe I'm on my own here because it certainly looks it looking at my papers. But I've gone Liverpool City.
Yeah, I think Hull could be 5 points clear, couldn't they? Albeit Coventry would have a game in hand if they do beat Watford. But I didn't think they would. But it's a massive game. Coventry always late finishers, but they've left it very late this time. And you're right, they could be knackered after Man United, or they could come back having played like we did at Chelsea pretty well for a while and say, okay, we're playing Hull now. This should be a lot easier. And I think they'll win 2-0.
Oh, you've backed Coventry to not let the fatigue of a semi-final get to them. You backed Coventry 2-0. Well, Luke's gone 2-1 to Coventry. He feels the same. And well,
2-2.
What?
2-2, Chris?
Close, but no cigar. But
okay.
Technically, on paper, it won't be the last one we discussed, but on paper, Chris is that on there. If you can guess, look, his last three of his 4 predictions were all the same. He has gone 1-1 between Coventry and Hull. Ask Chris his favourite drink and what is his favourite score. He'll probably tell you it's Thatcher's Gold and 1-1, please. Because he's gone 1-1 again. I mean, if he doesn't use this as an advertisement for Florian's Fences, I'll be very hurt and disappointed. But Luke's gone 2-1 to Coventry. I've gone 2-1 Hull. I think the hangover effect, good or bad, even if they were to somehow win the game against Man U and make a final, I think the players' head will be focusing on that, because it'd be a chance for them to go in and achieve something remarkable, being a championship. A championship side.
We're right pair, aren't we?
I know. A championship side in an FA Cup final, whether they'll win it or not, would be still great to say won it. A championship club, best in pretty much all but the rest to get there. It would be a great one, and I just think if they do that, it'll be too much for them to take on Hull City. But the joys of the championship. One of us is probably going to be spot on and the other 3 are wrong, or neither of us will be right in one way or another. But there we go. At least one. That's one of the games in hand, Dave. Now, maybe I'm biased here. It's last, but by no means least this fixture. But I would say there's a bigger game in hand, because Leeds have to worry about 3 teams. Ipswich, Leicester, and currently Southampton. Southampton, who have 2 games in hand. Well, they had 2 games in hand. They won one of their games in hand quite comfortably against Preston during the midweek last week, Dave. Leicester will be looking in their eyes, if they can get a win against West Brom, they will be looking to put a sword in Southampton to maybe not end their top 2 hunt, but definitely seemingly rule them out of catching us, Dave, because at that point,
Yeah.
I think Southampton would be so far behind Leicester. I don't even know if it'd be mathematically possible with the games we'd have left at that point, because we'd have Preston and Blackburn's playing. I think they'd have the same, and I think that would rule them out of it. So it's all beneficial for Leicester, but Southampton will be feeling, Dave, that if any points are dropped by the likes of Leeds, and with Ipswich not playing, of course, they will have that game in hand against Coventry to play, which could still be a big game for both clubs if results go their way during the week. This has the makings of an absolute classic. You know, a cliche between it, but it'd be an advert for the championship. This game has potential. And again, another one, and I know every game's big, Dave, but I would say the next two for Leicester are the biggest because it's the game in hand and it's the platform maker. You win both of these games and results potentially go your way. Leicester could be, you know, barring a 2 defeats in a row, would practically be secured of automatic promotion before the Preston game, which would be the next big game they have to play.
You've said 3 wins will do it, haven't we? For a while, 3
Yeah,
wins will do it.
Yeah, I think 3 wins does do it, and I think 6 points might still be enough.
Might still do it, yeah. But I mean, they've got to expect 3 wins, haven't they? Got to.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. The Southampton game will be a cracker, but I think we'll beat them 4-2.
Dave, just do me a favour. Confirm for me, Dave, that you have no knowledge of any and all predictions made before this show.
I haven't got much knowledge of mine, to be honest, but
no. that is very true. That is very true. Well, if I know someone who has agreed with you, I can tell you, if you had said John, you'd have been wrong, because John's going for a sensible 1-0 win.
Okay, sensible, yeah.
If I'd have told you Chris hasn't gone for a draw, because that's probably the only team he hasn't given a draw to this game, you'd be wrong, because Chris went 3-1 Leicester. Now then, you went 4-2. And earlier in the show, I'll try that again, Luke went for his Leicester special, but he went 4-0 in the Rotherham Birmingham game to Birmingham. So if I was to tell you that Luke has gone for a big scoreline, would you have said it was him that's gone 4-2, given his Leicester history?
Yeah, I would have thought maybe, yeah.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
But
you'd be wrong, because Luke...
I can't believe we've agreed again.
I know, but Luke went 3-2, and yes, Dave, shocking as it may seem, we're like buses. You wait for one for ages and then 2 once. This week, Dave, we've agreed twice the occasion. I have gone Leicester City 4, Southampton 2 as well. And for me, Dave, as crazy as these last few weeks have been, I think that is the big... This is the big one for Leicester. These are the big 2. I know potentially all 4 games left are big games, and there is a case that we could win these 2 and Leeds and win their games. So it's still needed to beat the likes of Blackburn and Preston, who we'd have left.
Yeah, I think the thing now is that there's no hiding place, no excuses, no hiding place. We know the deficiencies, the way they're playing. They're not tired. They've had 8 days off. Or 7 days off.
Excuses yesterday, if I should say.
No excuses. Get out and do it.
Yeah.
And the crowd, same for the fans. Get behind them, lads.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
it must be said, the crowd has been very supportive and backing.
Generally, it has. I think from what Kate said last week at Plymouth was a little bit toxic, but that's the way support.
Yes, but that can happen when you go all that way, Dave, and you have to remember.
God, yeah.
Fans there that went London and then down south in the space of 48 hours. You know.
I know. I mean, I've nothing but admiration for them. That's the sort of thing I used to do, but 40 years ago.
Yeah.
when I was young. I mean,
When you had to ride the dinosaurs to the stadium then, didn't you, Dave?
Well, open top bus, mate.
Well, what were they? What were they back in your day? Because people these days think
trams.
Wow, yes, trams. They were the days, weren't they, Dave? Bloody hell.
Yeah, probably.
But
no, that's Chris.
Yeah, well, we'll be back. We will. I can't speak. I cannot speak today. I should have.
Well, I'll be back. I'm not sure about Brad, but
yeah, I might have just been passed on by this stage and just been sent off to the loony bin because I can't speak. Dave, thank you very much for joining us today. We have got through another roundup of predictions week. It was nice, like you said, this week to actually be able to. Well, I did get to see you last week. We just never got to see these lovely people that have joined us in the comment section. But Dave, you obviously are the man, the chief that does radio, Surrey Hills Radio. But let the people know where they can find you and tell them more about Surrey Hills Radio.
Okay, it's surreyhillsradio.co.uk. We have 45-ish plus presenters doing totally different music. Everyone has a different genre. Everybody plays what they want. So you're bound to find something that you like. And we are 24/7. If there's not a presenter on air, we're streaming music out anyway. No news, apart from Chris. The breakfast show is becoming a classic. 7 till 10 if you can get up that early and listen to him. Especially this Monday coming up, which I'm sure we'll point out to everybody on Saturday.
I'm sure you will. Well, there you go. Go and check out all the things that Dave's just told you about there, and make sure you're there because some egos can't fit through the door on a Monday for Surrey Hills Radio. But apparently, there's a DJ in there that has questionable content. But Dave, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, into the comments that have been joining along, and all you viewers watching. Make sure you are back nice and early for. Probably knowing me and Chris, 11:30 in the morning tomorrow. Yes, the joys of Sky TV and an early kickoff. We will be here. Chris will be hosting. I'll be popping in and out. I'll be there pre-match, half-time, and obviously the fallout of the post-match, which could get heated and interesting as it did last time I was there. I was eating my popcorn when it all kicked off last time.
That was fun.
That will be Chris in charge of the watch along from, like I said, 11:30 tomorrow morning. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you have liked the video. And make sure on your way out, you head over to LTiDtv 2 and go and drop them a subscription and check out their channels. And thank you for those listening on the podcast platform for lending us your ears. And next time, give them a good wash out beforehand, please. But until next time, until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him. I tell you what, we don't half make a killing pair. And that is a perfect as a way to end the show. Until tomorrow, guys, you'll see me tomorrow. And as always, come on, you foxes. Goodbye.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.